On a routine afternoon in August, a dispatch call broke the suburban calm. A report came in from a bustling shopping mall, detailing a retail theft in progress, allegedly carried out by a trio of young women. Officers were sent to the location, their vehicle navigating the familiar roads that led to the consumer hub. Outside the main entrance, amidst the flow of shoppers, two young women matching the provided descriptions were quickly located. The officers moved in decisively, their presence immediately shifting the atmosphere from leisurely commerce to a law enforcement investigation. The women were instructed to stop and approach the patrol car. One, dressed in a green and white plaid outfit, and the other, in a simple white t-shirt and pink shorts, complied, their shopping bags now evidence in a budding inquiry.
Stop, come over here. Walk over here. Hey, find the third. Get her, Jeff. Drop your bags, please. Alright, right now you're just being detained. We're conducting an investigation.
The situation escalated swiftly from a simple stop to a formal detention. The woman in the white t-shirt found her hand secured behind her back, the cold metal of handcuffs a stark contrast to the casual afternoon. The officer explained that this was not yet an arrest, but a necessary step while they conducted their investigation into the theft allegations. She was guided to the front of the patrol car, a designated waiting spot as the legal process began to unfold. Before any meaningful questions could be asked, the officer knew protocol demanded a formal advisement of rights. He needed to ensure she understood the gravity of her situation and the legal framework that now surrounded her. He made it clear that the detention was for a theft investigation, carefully distinguishing it from more serious offenses to avoid unnecessary panic, while still maintaining the seriousness of the charge. The officer then began the familiar recitation of the Miranda rights. He methodically explained her right to remain silent, pausing to confirm she understood each point. He continued, stating that anything she said could be used against her in a court of law. He followed with her right to an attorney, both before and during questioning, and the provision of a lawyer at no cost if she could not afford one. Throughout this formal process, the young woman listened, her expression unreadable. Finally, the officer asked if she had been threatened or promised anything in exchange for her cooperation. A final check to ensure any statement she made would be voluntary. With the legal prerequisites met, the path was clear for the interrogation to begin, aimed at untangling the events of the day.
So you have the right to remain silent, do you understand? Anything you say may be used against you in court, do you understand? That's
Yes,
a yes. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning, do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford a lawyer and you want one, one will be provided for you before questioning without charge.
The officer started by probing her history, asking if she had ever been in trouble before. Her response was a mix of denial and a minor admission about a past driving infraction, an attempt to frame herself as someone unaccustomed to such serious police encounters. The officer then shifted his focus to the purpose of their mall trip. She explained they were out to get back-to-school outfits for her sister and her niece. However, her story began to fray under scrutiny. When asked about the collection of bags at their feet, she claimed to have kept the tags on her own purchases, a personal habit she offered as an explanation. But the officer had more than just the bags to go on. He informed her that there were witnesses and, crucially, video footage from several stores showing them stealing merchandise. The lack of receipts for any of the numerous items was a glaring inconsistency. She attempted to justify one of the bags, claiming the items from a specific clothing store were intended for an exchange. She asserted that she had paid for them previously with her own card, but had no proof on hand. The officer pressed for details about this supposed exchange, asking what she had received and if she had any form of store credit or receipt for the transaction. Her answers remained vague. The conversation then turned to a different store, a shoe retailer. The officer presented a specific piece of evidence from the surveillance footage. He described a scene where she handed a pair of shoes or shorts to her sister in green, who then walked away with the item without paying. The woman deflected, claiming ignorance of her sister's actions, and insisting the only thing she herself took was a single skirt from an unknown store, for which she also had no proof of purchase. Her inability to provide clear, consistent answers only deepened the officer's suspicion that this was far more than a simple misunderstanding.
I gotcha. Yeah, you guys were on video. We have witnesses saying that you guys are stealing from a bunch of different stores. And obviously you've got a bunch of bags here.
Leaving the first sister to ponder her predicament, the officer moved to the second woman, the one in the green plaid outfit. He had her stand in a specific spot and repeated the entire rights reading process. He was meticulous, ensuring she also understood her right to remain silent and to have legal counsel. Once the formalities were complete, he began a new line of questioning, starting with the ownership of the various bags laid out on the pavement. He confirmed which bags belonged to her, and which to her sister. With the groundwork laid, he moved to the central question of intent. He asked whose idea it was to come to the mall and engage in this activity. He suggested it likely wasn't her sister, noting her lack of a prior record for such offenses. He directly asked if the plan was her own.
So, whose idea was it to come out here and do this stuff? I don't think it was your sister's, because she's never been in trouble. I've never seen her before doing this kind of thing. I don't think I've seen you either. Was it your idea? Was it whose idea?
It wasn't really an idea. I mean, it just happened.
The woman in green was evasive, claiming the events of the day just kind of happened, rather than being a premeditated act. The officer challenged this, reframing it as a conscious decision to acquire goods without payment. He inquired about their financial situation, asking if they had any money or any intention of paying for anything. Her responses were weak and unconvincing. He then brought up the video evidence from the shoe store, which reportedly showed the other two suspects handing items to her, which she then placed in her bag. He asked whether those stolen goods were in the bags on the ground, or concealed in their vehicle. He mentioned he could already see items from that brand, and that a search was inevitable. He laid out her options clearly. She could be truthful about the location of the merchandise, or they could wait for hours while he painstakingly reviewed all the security footage to piece the truth together. Faced with this direct challenge, her story began to crack. He asked her to list all the stores they had visited. She named a few, including a well-known sportswear brand, and the clothing store her sister had mentioned. The officer cross-referenced this with his own information, confirming their path through the mall complex. He then issued a final test of her honesty, asking if a search of the bags would reveal merchandise from any other stores besides the ones she had just listed. She added one more store name to the list. The officer, sensing a pattern of deception, delved into her past, asking if she had ever been in trouble for theft before. She admitted to a prior incident, but claimed it was 7 years ago. This admission gave the officer a crucial piece of insight into her character and potential experience with this type of crime. The investigation took a significant turn when the officer decided to examine the contents of the green-plaid woman's purse more closely. Inside, beneath the usual personal effects, he discovered a large, carefully folded bundle of aluminum foil. This was not a random item. The officer immediately recognized it as a common tool of the trade for experienced shoplifters. He knew that layers of foil are often used to create a shielded bag, designed to block the anti-theft sensors at store exits, allowing a person to walk out with tagged merchandise without setting off any alarms. The discovery of this device shifted the case from a series of opportunistic thefts to a potentially organized and premeditated criminal operation.
While searching the suspect's purse, officers uncovered a large bundle of tinfoil, a known tool commonly used by shoplifters to block anti-theft sensors and sneak merchandise past security systems without setting off alarms.
Confronted with the foil, the woman had no credible explanation. The officer laid out the facts for her, explaining exactly how such a device worked, and noting the large quantity she possessed. Her silence was telling. With the presence of an anti-shoplifting device, the officer now had more than enough probable cause to search their vehicle for additional stolen property. The question was no longer if they had stolen, but how much they had stolen. He asked her directly if there was anything else in the car he should know about, framing it as a last chance to offer some measure of cooperation. The investigation had now moved beyond the bags at their feet, and was poised to uncover the full scope of the day's activities. The discovery of the foil had unlocked the next level of the inquiry. The focus of the investigation then shifted entirely to the suspect's car, a red sedan parked in the mall lot. The officer used the keys to open the vehicle, and what he found inside confirmed his worst suspicions. The back seat was not just messy, it was a trove of stolen goods. Bags were piled high, overflowing with brand new apparel, shoes and accessories. There was no pretense of personal belongings here. This was a mobile repository of illicitly acquired merchandise. The officer began to systematically remove the items, his initial assessment of the situation expanding with every bag he pulled from the car. The sheer volume of products was staggering, far exceeding what the women had in their hands when they were first stopped. He found merchandise from the shoe store they had denied stealing from, validating the surveillance evidence. He uncovered items from a multitude of other retailers, revealing a far wider net of theft than they had admitted to. The car contained a veritable cross-section of the mall's offerings, all unpaid for. The officer brought the two sisters over to the vehicle, confronting them with the undeniable proof of their extensive crime spree. The bags of stolen goods were placed on the hood of the patrol car, creating a visual testament to their actions. The woman in the white t-shirt attempted to distance herself from the horde, claiming the bags were simply in the passenger seat when she got in the car. But her denials crumbled in the face of the mountain of evidence. The officer pointed to the aluminum foil found in her sister's purse, linking the tool of the crime directly to the fruits of it sitting before them.
Alright, like I was just explaining to your sister. Now I obviously know you guys are taking way more stuff than I initially thought.
What?
You were in the front passenger seat sitting with a whole bag of
That's
stolen
nothing
stuff.
to do with me, and I don't think that's a bag of stuff.
What
The
about all this stuff?
investigation
This is all in the
concluded
car,
with a
too.
clear and
Stolen
damning
Nike.
picture. The trio had engaged in a systematic, multi-store theft operation. In total, they had stolen nearly $2,000 worth of merchandise from 9 different stores. Their method was sophisticated, using a homemade anti-shoplifting device to bypass security systems with ease. The full weight of the law was brought to bear upon them. All 3 were charged with multiple counts, including retail theft involving 5 or more occurrences, possession and use of an anti-shoplifting device, and grand theft for exceeding the value threshold of $750. The 2 adult sisters were formally arrested and booked into the county jail. Their younger juvenile accomplice was transported separately to a juvenile assessment center, her path diverging from her older relatives but her future equally clouded by the day's illicit activities. The afternoon shopping trip had ended not with new outfits, but with serious felony charges, and the resounding clang of a jail door.